team of explorers, using untested technologies and harnessing the power of thousands of eyes the world over, in a race against time to solve an 800-year-old mystery.
The storm is bad over there.
My name is Albert Lin. I'm on a quest to find the secret burial site, the forbidden tomb of the man who ruled one of the largest empires ever known, Genghis Khan. It's the most incredible archaeological puzzle of the last millennium.
You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
We're in Ulaanbaatar, the capital of Mongolia. And after many months of meetings, we've got the go-ahead from the government and leading scholars to conduct our search for the tomb of Genghis Khan. The day is here. We're packed and ready to go. We've got 31 men, 14 horses, 11 laptops, a crazy arsenal of new tools, 4 goats, and a lot of unknown.
Stop! I haven't been able to sleep for almost a year now because I've been dreaming about this. Let's get in the cars, let's go. All right.
I'm using historical texts for clues, mostly legends from centuries ago. Some of them say that a sacred mountain called the Burkhan Khaldun could be the location of the tomb. Problem is, there's no longer a mountain with that name, and no one is certain which of Mongolia's many peaks it could be. This mountain is shrouded in mystery. By the time of Genghis Khan's death in 1227, at the age of 65, his empire spanned the Asian continent. It would eventually stretch from Siberia to India, from Korea to Hungary, and fundamentally change the course of world history. Genghis Khan destroyed anybody who defied him. His armies left millions dead in medieval Europe, Asia, the Middle East. But the history of these campaigns was written by his enemies, his victims. So most people in the West only know Genghis Khan as a savage, bloodthirsty warrior. But that's only part of the story. He created a new world in which ideas flowed from east to west, advancing technology, art, and science. If he was so bloodthirsty, then why did he abolish torture? The man lived by principles. Based on reports of past expeditions, all of which have tried and failed, we've targeted one section of the Henti mountain range as a likely location of the Burkhan Khaldun. It's about 100 miles northeast of the capital, 40 miles south of the Russian border, in a place called the Yigi Korik, or the Forbidden Zone.
We're laying siege to the mountain.
Where we're going, roads can disappear overnight. So we send an advanced party on horseback to scout for passable terrain.
Hey, why are we stopping? It looks like the roads are gonna start showing their might right now.
Hey, do you guys have the mechanic with you? The engineer?
3 years ago, if you'd asked me where I'd be today, I'd tell you I'd be stuck in an office doing something I didn't love. I was just 1 year shy of getting my PhD in material science and engineering. I'd packed my bags for Beijing and bought a ticket on the Trans-Siberian Railroad to find out what my grandfather meant when he said our family comes from the north. My plan was to go to Mongolia and buy a horse, to ride through the countryside and live with the nomads. I'd only one change of clothes and a GPS. Everyone told me I was crazy. The more I'd hear I was crazy, the more I wanted to prove everybody wrong. So I crossed the border into Mongolia. I found a world that had changed little in a millennium. And at its core, Genghis Khan, a a charismatic figure whose true history was as lost to the Western world as his tomb. Locked away somewhere in the ancestral homelands, a forbidden zone. I'm haunted by this mystery. I mean, it's a personal challenge that I've created for myself. Nobody knows exactly where his tomb is or how he died, but there's a lot of legends. One legend claims that a captured princess who was to be his concubine murdered him. Another legend claims that he died of typhus during a major military campaign, a secret known only by his innermost circle. And some say that the abandoned nomad boy who grew to conquer more land than any man in world history died doing what he loved most: hunting wild horses. The accident proved fatal. A proud man, Genghis Khan refused medical care until the military campaign in the south was won. By then, it was too late. His death would make the Mongol Empire vulnerable to his enemies. So it was kept a state secret. These things happened nearly 800 years ago. Our trail is cold. We have to study every clue, we have to use every tool, including the historical texts. According to one of those accounts, Genghis Khan's body was purified, wrapped in white felt, preparing him for the long journey north to his ancestral home, to the sacred mountain. But where? It could be any mountain in a huge mountain range. Where exactly did they bring his body? I mean, the odds would be against us, right? The Mongolian government, its people, they're fiercely protective of even the idea of Genghis Khan. No one is permitted to dig. There's even a legend that says the world would come to an end if a single stone of Genghis Khan's tomb is ever disturbed. But there's gotta be a way. So here's my plan. What if you use satellite imagery to identify patterns on the Earth's surface that indicate that there's something man-made beneath the surface? What if we use cutting-edge technologies in a new way to excavate without ever digging? And I knew exactly who could help me pull this off. You need a team of people that are not going to be stopped where the road ends. That's my guys. All experts in their fields. From robotics to data mining to 3D imaging, these guys are my dream team. And joining me are National Geographic's archaeology fellow, Dr. Fred Hebert, and Professor Tsokot Ochurin Ishtorch, one of the world's authorities on Mongolian history.
What do you think? It's really stuck?
It's really stuck.
But even with my dream team on board, we're never gonna find the tomb of Genghis Khan if we can't get this truck out of the mud.
This is supposed to be our bread and butter, our workhorse to get us through the hard parts, and this thing in the mud, I don't know what we're gonna do.
The Russian 66, it's a legendary 7,000-pound off-road vehicle with a beast of a V8 under the hood, and just what we need to get our heavy scientific equipment into the field. They're old trucks, but the saying goes, you can fix a 66 with twine and duct tape. Their reputation is that they're unstoppable.
business.
We continued north, following what could have been the route of Genghis Khan's funeral escort, crossing a beautiful but harsh landscape. Genghis Khan called it the Northern Wilderness. It's where he was born, where he suffered as a child. At the age of 9, Temujin, the boy who would become Genghis Khan, lost everything. His father was murdered. His family was abandoned by their own tribe. Temujin, his mother, and his young siblings were left to die on the brutal steppe. But they didn't die. They beat the odds and survived. And a fire was lit within this boy that would one day shape the fate of millions. We push on. 40 miles north of the capital, Ishtorsh knows a campsite. We arrive on the eastern steppe. It took us 10 hours to get here, but there's no time to rest.
This is actually part of this.
Time to make a home.
It's midnight. We gotta get this done. Get to bed.
A storm front is coming. These 3 collapsible yurts, or gers, they'll be our home for the night. They're versatile structures, so simple yet totally warm and waterproof, totally packable, carried by nomads across the steppe for a millennium.
Learning as I go.
I've convinced a lot of people to trust in me, you know, to put their lives on hold, to invest money and time, but to also give me access to this sacred land. I can't let them down now. Lightning in the night sky, it feels like an omen. Good or bad, well, we'll find out tomorrow. We're getting closer to the forbidden zone. The sun rises at 4 a.m., but none of us came to Mongolia to catch up on our sleep.
We are right now in a valley that is just to the south of the highly restricted area of northern Mongolia. It was once probably part of the forbidden zone that Genghis Khan had originally created. Nobody even knows which mountain we're looking for anymore because we know it by name, but nobody knows exactly which mountain that is. There were never any maps created around it.
It's to that very mountain that Temujin, the young man who would become Genghis Khan, ran for his life, chased by an enemy tribe that had just kidnapped his wife, Bortha. He escaped and, according to legend, sought refuge on the Burkhan Khaldun. There, he turned his fate over to Tengar, the Mongol god of the eternal blue sky, and found the strength to stand up and fight. After 3 days on the mountain, he set out to get his wife back, to be proclaimed Genghis Khan, which means the universal ruler. An incredible transformation happened on the Burkhan Khaldun. And that's where we're heading, if we can find it.
The Burkhan Khaldun, it's not just a mountain, it's a whole mountain range. It's more than 12,000 square kilometers. To begin to investigate that area, it would take more than 100 archaeologists all their lives just to begin to look.
So we're asking the public to scan the entire area through the Human Computation Network and tell us where to go so we can find any possible trace of the Burkhan Khaldun.
We're trying to get people around the world to help us find the tomb of Genghis Khan by creating what we call the Human Computation Network. We've uploaded 85,000 high-res images from the GeoEye-1, an advanced Earth imaging satellite, and shared them with the public through our website. Citizen scientists all over the world are scanning these images and tagging anything that looks out of the ordinary. We've got hundreds of thousands of eyeballs in the sky looking for ancient structures.
This is the data that just came in today, huh?
Mm-hmm. These are the most recent tags that have been uploaded onto the data pads.
Hundreds of our citizen scientists tagged this unusual rectangle shape on the satellite map. Straight lines are usually a good indicator that something's man-made. The GPS coordinates are then downloaded to us in the field. It turns out the site is less than 2 miles from our camp. Could it be the tomb of Genghis Khan? We're gonna go check it out. So we get on our horses and we're galloping up this hill while keeping an eye on our data pads and GPS. And we come upon this thing that was identified by the public, made of rocks sticking out of the earth.
This is it? Wow. Ooh.
It's clearly a tomb, but it's too old to be Genghis Khan's. It's Bronze Age. It's more than 3,000 years old.
But what you can see, this is a very well-structured rectangular shape with these rocks set up like a home, you know. And the opening there represents a door, and always the door is facing south. So south is directly that way. So this is exciting because not only does it tell us that human computation works, but it gives us another clue that says that we need to look on the south side of the mountains.
I mean, if people hundreds of miles away in the comfort of their own homes can guide us through satellite images to this ancient gravesite, then I feel like we've got a chance to find the tomb of Genghis Khan. One legend tells us that Genghis Khan's funeral escort was an armed procession of 10,000 riders. They would have faced a long, hard journey to be carried out in complete secrecy. For the stability of his empire, his death was treated as a state secret. The escort would have traveled the 900 miles north under very strict orders. They'd leave no witnesses. All clues were erased. Anyone unlucky enough to see the procession didn't live to tell. It's as though Genghis Khan's death never happened. But we're looking with a new set of eyes. And our citizen scientists have tagged some more sites in the area.
What about on that hillside over there?
We need to follow these leads. The Bronze Age tombs are cool, but they're not what we're here for. It'll be clear from the air if there's something else in this vicinity from the time of Genghis Khan. But we need a bird's eye view of the area, with more detail than a satellite image can provide us. Our answer is the octocopter, a flying robot with a camera for an eye and a programmable GPS. There's something unexpected.
Good catch. That was the best one.
So we land the octocopter and review the footage, and there's something here that sends a chill down my spine. A looted Bronze Age tomb.
Look at those stones. Oh, wait a minute. The site's been...
So it's infuriating that grave robbers, probably looking for arrowheads and artifacts, are going through here and looking for things to sell on the black market. This dig is fresh. We can tell by how moist the earth is.
And we're worried about this entire region because they might be digging up there, they might be digging over there, and we're really worried that they're going to go up into the mountains.
There's another site that our citizen scientists have tagged. It's a mountain about 56 miles north and also happens to conform with the local legends of where the Burkhan Khaldun sits. It's at the source of 2 rivers, and we're headed there. We've got to find the tomb of Genghis Khan before destructive forces beat us to it.
Good luck. Okay.
On the menu for today, 56 miles of rutted dirt road. Our destination, a mountain tagged by our citizen scientists in the Henty mountain range. Could it be the Burkhan Khaldun? If all goes well, we'll reach the gate of the Forbidden Zone before nightfall.
No problem. Woo!
3 hours later, we arrive. I'd pictured armed guards and barbed wire, but in reality, the gate to the Forbidden Zone is as much a political symbol as a physical barrier. Still, we need permission from the local authority, so we wait. But once through, we'll be on the doorsteps of Genghis Khan's sacred domain. 7,500 square miles, encompassing the mountains, the eternal blue sky, and everything in between.
Once we cross this region, we are stepping into a land that is so spiritually significant for the Mongolians and for the rest of the world to know about, because it is actually a place where Genghis Khan had said nobody could go outside of the royal family for 800 years.
It's speculated that Genghis Khan restricted access to this region because it contained the Burkhan Khaldun, the sacred mountain, his future burial site, so full of power that he feared others might misuse it. For Genghis Khan, it was the key to his rule.
It's okay, Tosh, we can open it.
No one kills trespassers anymore, but it's still considered hallowed ground and closely protected. We're allowed to enter. So we pass through this barrier and we take a few steps, and I'm totally speechless. This place that I have read about from ancient texts, from iconic figures like Rashid al-Din from the 13th century, or Marco Polo, or explorers from the 19th century, talking about this forbidden precinct, this Yigi Kurik. With a few steps, I'm finally on the inside.
If we do this fast, it should be done in 2 hours.
Inside the gate, beneath the endless blue sky, we make camp for the night in a sacred place that few have ever been. I hope we're on the right trail. We know the Burkhan Khaldun was sacred to Genghis Khan, but how do we know that he was buried there? There's a clue from a 13th century Persian scholar, Rashid al-Din, who wrote that one day while out hunting on the sacred mountain, Genghis Khan saw a solitary tree. The sight of the tree pleased him, and he sat for an hour under it, giving his orders. This place is suitable for my burial. We've got to find the Burkhan Khaldun. It's morning. Time to load up again. Iron stoves, a freezer, goats, rugs, army cots, gears. It takes hours every time we break camp. Cars and horses start the slog, 25 miles due east. According to our GPS, this will lead us to the foot of the mountain that might be the Burkhan Khaldun. But trouble awaits us. About 20 miles from the mountain, we come upon the sacred river, the Khurlin. It's swollen, gorged with water from the rains that just came through. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe the larger truck, the 66, can make it. The horses probably, but the smaller trucks that are carrying all of our electronics, our geophysics, there's no way. But we've got to try.
We have a cable attached to the Russian minibus. Then we're gonna pull it across the water over.
How you feeling over there? You nervous?
Man, this is kind of gnarly. It's got whiplash. Uh-oh, I think the cable came off.
Yeah, we got a cop car going here.
Oh my God.
It's eerie to think that every obstacle we face on our journey was probably faced by Genghis Khan's funeral escort 800 years ago. when the horse cart bearing his body got stuck. The shaman implored Genghis Khan's spirit to push on. We don't have a shaman, but we do have good old-fashioned Mongolian determination. And we're on our way. We enter the foothills of the Henty mountain range. Thick grass and shrub brush. If we're on the right path, this is the same ground the funeral escort would have traveled. It's such a crazy feeling because this is a place that for 800 years has been forbidden to go to, yet so many people have thought about it and written about it and speculated as to what it contains. It's such an honor to be here. It's getting late. By our GPS, we've got at least 2 hours before we reach the base of the mountain tagged by our citizen scientists. We do not want to be stuck out here for the night. Trucks don't fail us now. Cross the Forbidden Zone and arrive at the foot of Mount Henty Han in the northwest quadrant of the Henty mountain range.
Hey, welcome!
Hey, hi.
Good job. Bye. We made it. Awesome!
We know from the secret history of the Mongols, a chronicle written 2 decades after Genghis Khan's death, that the Burkhan Khaldun sits at the mouth of 2 rivers. There's 2 rivers here. That's a promising sign. Other expeditions have followed the same clue and come up empty-handed. But we've got something they didn't.
Geophysics.
Okay.
We plan to scan every inch of this mountain. If there's any evidence of a tomb, we will find it.
It's been a long haul. Everybody's destroyed today after yesterday's, I don't know, like 18-hour slog.
We set up base camp at the foot of the mountain. Tomorrow we'll begin the climb. But today, we rest. At first light, we begin our trek. We narrow our search to the southern side of the mountain. We know for one thing, in Mongolia, everything respects the sun and therefore faces south. Graves and tombs face south. Even doors of houses face south. On this mountain, there's a significant plateau on the southeastern flank. It's been tagged by our citizen scientists, and it's on the sunny side of the mountain. Could it be the site of a tomb? We're heading to it.
We're all going up this side of this mountain. We're scrambling, not stopping. Just climbing up this mountain. And we come up into this dense pine grove and a little flattening out plateau. And at that flattened out plateau stands in front of us this huge shrine of blue prayer flags. It's called an ovu. It's eerie how spiritual you feel in front of this thing.
The ovu is a clue. It means that people have come here to this remote location to make offerings.
So the idea is that if this is a modern shrine, maybe it's built on a place that's been holy for a long time.
This site demands a closer look and a name, Archaeological Site 1, or Arc Site 1 for short. We find charred bits of wood. Are they from a forest fire or burnt timbers from a building?
We've got pottery tiles sitting right on the forest floor. Every winter, it freezes and the ground pushes things up, water, anything. These tiles have been pushed up and they're actually sitting on the forest floor.
Like cops working a crime scene, we'll tag everything significant. A single tile isn't enough. If there's a tomb here, there'll be more clues.
We're looking for linear shapes in the ground, and as we started walking around here, we noticed rocks that start to kind of line up.
This could be the foundation of a building, but more work needs to be done. We've brought the electromagnetometer. It's a great tool for looking under the ground.
The string is like here. Okay, you have to follow the line with the sensor in perpendicular direction.
Okay.
Archaeological remains have distinct magnetic properties. The electromagnetometer reads these as anomalies and creates a map of what's man-made beneath the surface. Once the scanning is done, we'll send the data through our satellite uplink to a processing lab. If there's something down there, we will see it by morning. Morning at the foot of the sacred mountain, and there's a surprise from yesterday's scan.
Oh, man. We found something. We know it's big.
We just received this data, and we are seeing here a 2D map of the EM survey we made yesterday.
So the blue on the scan is soft, and it's like grass and moss or roots, whereas the red's really exciting for us because above the bedrock, anything that would be there would be man-made. It would be anomalous, like a wall or a tomb chamber. It's really exciting to look at these scans. That's really sweet.
This is very nice.
That's very nice.
That's very nice.
That wall is that.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And that is that.
The data confirms Fred's hypothesis. The stones we found are forming a straight line. And those lines, I mean, they gotta be walls. Plus, the structure's even bigger than we originally thought.
So we're gonna go back and do a much larger scan because I think that we've just, we've realized that maybe what we stumbled across is bigger than what we thought it was originally. Make sure you prioritize, number one is to make sure that we get the data we need and do anything to make that happen. So go for it, go.
So we break into two teams. Alex Novo and his team expand the search grid at ArcSite 1. Team 2 comes with me and Ishtorsh to explore the Sea of Graves, a strange rock formation that past explorers have flagged as the possible ruins of an imperial burial site. With our geophysical tools, we can settle this speculation once and for all. It takes a few hours to ride and hike up the mountain. Suddenly, out of nowhere, an epic storm is right on top of us.
Oh man, if you just look into that valley deep down over there, you can see what's coming at us.
Shai, who is strapped into the imaging gear, is a human lightning rod.
That's looking pretty brutal. Come on, Shai, we gotta go.
Maybe something bigger than all of us doesn't want us to find this tomb.
Off the mountain right now.
What's up, dude?
You guys better pack up and wrap up. It's really, really dumping now. Right on the other ridge. It's gonna come at us right now.
No time to complete the scan. We pack up and get off the highest point of the mountain, fast.
This is Ridge to ArcSite 1. You got some serious weather coming your way. We're heading down right now.
The storm is freaky. I've never seen a front move like that. We made it back to camp, shaken, but in one piece.
Hey, friends. How'd you guys do? Wow, we got blown off of that ridge.
I'm worried a little bit. You know, the toll of the field is taking itself on the crew in general. I mean, everybody's tired.
The storm passes over us, and in the morning, the weather is improved. And the next day, we're slogging up the mountain again. The muddy trails had been washed out from the rain. I mean, this crazy storm had come through, and we were seeing evidence of it all around us.
Oh, man. Did this just fall?
It just came down.
Trees that had fallen down just across the side of this mountain were everywhere. And there was one right there, right on top of the trail, right across Arc Site 1. I mean, if we had been there any longer that night before, we could have gotten killed. But our fear turned into excitement. I mean, incredible luck.
This tree fell down, and in its roots was the proof that the building extended this far. You see roof tiles, you see bricks, you see ceramics. It's kind of like the mountain gave us a little gift. So we're really pleased about this. So in fact, we now have a rectangular building. It's oriented north and south. In theory, the doorway should be towards the south. So the team has now been sent to the south to see if there is an entranceway, a roadway, or a walkway, which would have led up to this building from the lake. And that's really exciting. That's where the team is right now.
We're not allowed to dig, but nature opened up the ground for us. We need to see what else is down there. So Alex Novo sets up a new tool, the ground-penetrating radar.
8.83 meters. In the first profile, we hit these 2 trees. This is extreme radar, certainly.
This cutting-edge tool lets us dig without a shovel to reveal the buried layers of the past. For the funeral escort carrying Genghis Khan's body north, the difficult journey must have taken months. The shaman would confirm the exact spot for burial once they arrived. According to legend, it was the same site of the lone tree that Genghis Khan sat beneath while out hunting. The great Khan had now returned home to the mountain as he had intended. The reason we don't know where Genghis Khan is buried is not by accident. He chose to hide his burial location. Legend says, once buried, 800 horsemen trampled Genghis Khan's grave. And within a month, a forest grew covering the spot. As if the trees were conspiring to keep his death a secret. Meanwhile, we discover another fallen tree.
The storm last night just pounded at this hillside. And what it's kind of done for us is continue to wash away the layers of the past. And it's given us examples like this, just sitting there in the roots of the trees. I mean, you can see here this perfectly preserved end tile to a ceramic roof, which is beautiful on the front. But what's really interesting to me is when you flip it around on the back and you can actually see the fingerprints of the artisan who made it. I mean, this is amazing because now I'm actually doing the exact same thing, running my fingers across what somebody else did. You know, how long ago, I don't know yet.
Luckily for us, thermoluminescent dating can give a very accurate window of when a ceramic was fired.
Yeah, the heating above 500 degrees changes the crystalline structure of the ceramic, and that is locked in. Once it's locked in, we have an ability through a calibration program to be able to look at that and compare it to the soil around it and be able to say exactly when that was fired.
After completing the ground-penetrating radar scan of the expanded search area, we head down the mountain to process the results.
So this is GPR slice data, right? So it allows us to see a 3D view of the structure. And here's your outer wall.
Yep.
Right where you had marked your grid, Fred.
That's our grid.
This is your grid, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard to read, But the red areas are foundations of walls.
Right on the target. And then as we descend, the wall disappears, and then boom, something's right in the center.
The 3D scan holds an even bigger surprise.
It looks like we definitely have a man-made structure here. You had two rectangles, one outside of the other. But the one that's in the middle, from this scan, is very obviously below the outer wall.
Could this be a burial chamber underneath some kind of commemorative temple?
This is amazing. This is what the non-invasive tools can do. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Good scans.
All right, dude. You know, I know it's too early to jump to conclusions. We need more dates from the pottery and the burnt wood samples. And, you know, Fred's a bit more skeptical than I am because science takes time. I know. We need those dates from the lab. But still, I'm ecstatic. I mean, we found this huge buried structure, something that looks like a temple. You know, we're finding pieces scattered across the side of this mountain, which we think is quite possibly the sacred mountain. I mean, it makes all the sense in the world geographically to the texts that we have found. And it's right in the center of the forbidden zone. I mean, this forbidden precinct, which is still a forbidden area today. My heart is racing, but it's time to break camp. You know, after 15 exhausting days, we're out of time, we're out of provisions, food, gas. We've got to head back.
One in each car.
It's a 3-day slog back to the city, but the distance we've traveled can't be measured in miles. It's tough to leave this place, thinking about how much we've accomplished, how much we've found. The next critical step is to date these tiles and wood samples, to see whether they come from the time of Genghis Khan.
Yeah, the large sampling is going to give us that robusticity.
The thermoluminescent and carbon dating results are in. Fred has flown out from DC so we can review them together. I'm nervous as hell, but the news is even better than I'd hoped for.
742 is wood.
Oh my God.
That's exactly the time period. Albert,
It's 1219 to 1275.
Albert, that's
crazy.
That's the sweet spot.
It's amazing what we found. You know, the tiles date from the 13th and 14th century, right around the time of Genghis Khan and his sons.
I was pretty skeptical in the field. I never expected to get 13th and 14th century dates. I mean, this is just astonishing.
Oh my God.
So ArcSite 1 contains the remains of a 13th century Mongolian period temple with something extremely compelling beneath it. Is it the lost tomb of Genghis Khan? Well, it's too early to say. The images we have taken indicate that a significant structure was built here. Did the Mongolian leader make it home? We found new evidence that would indicate he did. This site must be protected. You know, our job is to present the scans and the dating results to the Mongolian government. I'll feel like we've completed our goal if our findings can build a new foundation for conservation and a heightened sense of cultural pride for this sacred mountain. 3 years ago, while sleeping on a friend's couch, I had a dream that took complete hold of me. I set out to find a legendary tomb in a forbidden place. And yet, what I was looking for may have been in plain sight all along. It's been said that if you're searching for Genghis Khan, just look into the eyes of any nomad, and you will find him there.